neurotransmitter is the GABA. And then, influx of the calcium and release of the GABA in the synaptic cleft, which binds to its receptors, the GABA, and then the chloride ions enter into the neuron. And the chloride, the influx of the chloride increases the negative charge inside the postsynaptic neuron, and there will be hyperpolarization. Are you done? So, for the three physiologic requirements for the seizure to occur, first is the hyperexcitability. Next is the increase of the excitatory neurotransmitter, which is the glutamate. And third is the hypersynchrony. So here is if there's imbalance of the seizure, if there's increase in sodium, calcium, or the paroxysmal depolarization, then there will be seizure. Then the other side, which is the control, if there is potassium efflux, chloride influx, and the pumps, low pH, and all. That's so clear, no? But this is the common etiology of seizures. The genetic, or the congenital, if there is vascular problem, or there is, the third one is the metabolic problem, if there is low sugar, hyponatremia, hypernatremia, or the hypocalcemia, basta electrolyte imbalance. Mechanical or traumatic during birth, if there is difficulty of like normal spontaneous delivery, if there's difficulty of delivery, then maybe it can cause trauma to the baby, and it can cause seizure. And also infectious like meningitis, encephalitis, brain abscess, and so on. So the common etiology of seizures in children, first seizure presentation, if it is unprovoked seizures, 30% of the patients will later develop epilepsy. Unprovoked, meaning there's no cause, or there's no fever, no electrolyte imbalance, the common causes like the genetic factors. Nag-seizure lang yun siya. So maybe 30% of patients will develop epilepsy. And 20% risk of developing epilepsy with normal neuro exam, EEG, and imaging. So these are the common etiologies: the unprovoked seizures, the febrile seizures, the acute symptomatic seizures or the provoked, then the remote symptomatic seizure, reflex seizures, and the mimickers. I will discuss them later. So first, the febrile seizures. This is the most common seizure event in humans, especially in the pediatric patients, 2 to 5% of the population. So the recurrence after the first febrile seizure is 30 to 40%, and also there is a low risk in developing epilepsy, only 2 to 5%. Usually a benign, normal cognitive outcomes. It is usually caused by fever or immature pa ilang brains, due to pedya pa sila, and also genetic predisposition or kaliwat. So febrile seizure usually occurs between 3 months to 5 years old. So common na siya in that age group, and more common in 18 months old. So febrile illness in the absence of CNS infection or other defined cause. So usually the temperature is more than 38.5 with a normal neurologic outcome. It is usually brief, generalized tonic-clonic. Then the differential diagnosis is usually rigors, febrile delirium, syncope. So there are three category of febrile seizures. Is usually simple, complex, and febrile status epilepticus. For the simple, it is usually brief, generalized, and single episode in 24 hours. But if the seizure has two episodes in 24 hours, it is called complex na dahil. So risk for epilepsy is 2%. For the complex, it is usually prolonged, more than 10 to 15 minutes. In simple febrile, less than 10 minutes. So the recurrence within 24 hours just during febrile illness. So the risk for TODS paralysis and risk for epilepsy is kind of high, 4 to 12%. And the next is the febrile status epilepticus. Usually, the duration is more than 30 minutes, focal features, and present in 5% of patients with febrile seizures. You can check the videos for seizures, what kind of present, how you can differentiate the focal or generalized. Usually, the generalized seizures is kind of upper and lower extremities, while the focal is only on the right side of the body or the left side of the body. Or there's aura. Then, same return. 30%, the recurrence of the first episode, 30%. If the febrile seizure is 2 or more, the recurrence is 50%. And if the infant is younger than 1 year old, at the febrile seizure onset, 50% magbalik pa yung febrile seizure. Then 5% may develop epilepsy later in life. So febrile seizure has two categories, the major and the minor febrile seizures. FS is febrile seizures. So the major, if the febrile seizure occurred at less than 1 year old, or the duration of fever is less than 24 hours, and the fever is 38 to 39. Then the rest is the minor, the family history, with history of epilepsy, if the febrile seizure is complex. So this table is febrile seizure that will subsequently proceed, or subsequently the epilepsy will occur. So if it is just simple, then it is just 1% that will subsequently proceed to epilepsy. Then if it is recurrent, the simple, 4%, then complex febrile seizures are more than 15 minutes in duration, 6%. And the rest, family history, if you have family history of epilepsy, then there's a chance that you have 18% that you will have epilepsy, and so on. So not so clear again. If you have a patient with a febrile seizure, it is important to get a thorough history. You should ask if how many minutes and the duration, if it is 1 episode, or if you have a family history of febrile seizures or epilepsy, any signs and symptoms of assessment of the proper assessment of the physical or neurologic exam. So what's that, the Brzezinski, so Kernig signs. So you should properly assess the neuro if it is if your patient presents with a febrile seizures. So counseling about the risk of recurrence and how to provide first aid. So usually ang mga parents, they will panic and they will rush the patient to the ER. So if it is first episode, sige, acceptable, but you can educate them that you can time the seizure, and you can don't put anything sa mouth. Kaya usually magput na sila og spoon para nila mapaak, pero dili na siya kay ilang teeth ma-damage na siya kay ilang mo i-grind. So you support the head, put the head on the side so that the saliva they cannot aspirate it. Then bring the patient to the nearest hospital. Okay. Then so febrile seizures, routine examinations and neuroimaging is usually not recommended. So if it is febrile seizures, common man gini siya sa katong age group, usually 18 months. So if there's no electrolyte imbalance due to vomiting or LVM, we usually don't get na mga stool exam, urinalysis, or CBC. We just advise the patient for supportive management and give paracetamol and what else? Hydrate the patient. Lumbar puncture is usually done in 18 months old because they cannot manifest Kernig sign or the Brudzinski sign. So, different siya mga recommendations, pero follow na lang the Nelsons. There's less than 18 months old, and also they're 6 months old, mandatory. So, follow lang the Nelsons, the 18 months. Then, routine EEG is not usually done, only for the unprovoked seizures. So immediate management, you can give rectal diazepam. Usually we give the IM diazepam. Since we don't have a line pa or IV line, so we can give it pa. Rectal diaz. Pero usually the available in our setting is the IV. So, but if there's no line pa, you can give it IM. Or intramuscular. So key points for the febrile seizures. There's no study has demonstrated any form or treatment that alters the risk for epilepsy. Antipyretics or your paracetamol, there's no effect in controlling the seizure. It will just ease discomfort. So also your tepid sponge bath has no effect. So next, this is kind of long topic, the epilepsy. So what is epilepsy? This is a disease characterized by an enduring predisposition to generate epileptic seizures and by the neurobiologic, cognitive, and psychological and social consequence of this condition. Seizure event, this is a sign or a symptom. Epilepsy is a disease involving recurrent or the unprovoked seizures. So there's no fever, no electrolyte imbalance, nag-seizure lang yun ang patient. So epilepsy is a disease of the brain, define any of the following. So at least 2 unprovoked seizures occurring greater than 24 hours apart. So there's no fever, as what I said, there's no fever, only seizures. Then also 1 unprovoked seizure and a probability of further seizures similar to the general recurrence risk after 2 unprovoked seizures occurring over the next 10 years. So also a diagnosis of epilepsy syndrome. So epilepsy is considered resolved if individuals who had age-dependent epilepsy syndrome but are now past applicable age. I will discuss this later. The Rolandic epilepsy, the West epilepsy, there is a certain age na mag-occur na siya. Then those who have remained seizure-free for the last 10 years. and no seizure medicine for the past 5 years. So this is just the classification of the seizure types. Focal onset, the generalized onset, and the unknown onset. So the rules of classifying seizures decide whether seizure onset is focal or one side lang of the body or the generalized onset. So according to Nelson's, using your 80% of your confidence level. Otherwise, the onset is unknown. If you are not confident, then you can refer it to the pedianeuro. So, for the focal onset, it is categorized into two, aware or impaired awareness. And also there is a motor onset, the non-motor onset. For the motor onset, there is automatism, clonic, atonic, spasms, and myoclonic seizure. If it is non-motor onset, there is behavioral arrest, cognitive emotions, they have different behaviors na dayon, or they have aura, like they can smell something. That's the motor onset. So for the awareness for focal seizures, decide whether to classify by degree of awareness, or you can omit the awareness as a classifier. So behavioral arrest, this is a focal behavior arrest. Seizures shows arrest of behavior at the prominent feature of the entire seizure. We have this one patient that, this is a grade 4 patient. Always lang siya hindi na ma-demonstrate, pero like that lang yung head, like mag-ana lang siya, and she can talk. There's no loss of consciousness. She can talk. When you ask her name, she can say it, but always lang siya like that. So now the awareness is present, but the seizure is, usually the seizure is, there's loss of consciousness, and then only the tonic-clonic will appear. Rare po to siya. So the optimal terms such as motor, non-motor, may be omitted when the seizure type otherwise is unambiguous. So additional descriptors, more on pedianeuro na kayo siya. After classifying the seizure type based on the initial manifestations, it is encouraged to add descriptions of other signs and symptoms suggested descriptors or free text. These do not alter the seizure type. So when a seizure type begins with focal, generalized, or absence, then the word onset can be presumed. There is bilateral versus generalized. Use the term bilateral for tonic-clonic seizures that propagate to both hemispheres. Generalized for seizures that apparently originate simultaneously in both hemispheres. So first, the atypical absence. This is absence. Absence is usually atypical if it has slow onset or offset, marked changes in tone. So this is just what you see in the EEG. Usually this is read by the pedianeuro. For the clonic versus myoclonic, clonic refers to the sustained rhythmic jerk. You can check, I don't have a video, but sustained rhythmic jerk, always like this. Then for the myoclonic, unsustained like that, then I cannot go on. And basta, myoclonic is unsustained. Example. For the eyelid myoclona, this is the absence with eyelid myoclona, refers to forced upward jerking of eyelids during absence seizures. So more on the eyes. So these are the terms that are no longer used. The complex partial, this is before pa. So this is the classification of epilepsy according to seizure type. Then level 2, you should epilepsy according to seizure type, focal epilepsy if it is generalized, then epilepsy syndrome, then epilepsy. Later I will discuss the West syndrome, absence. Same man na siya kanina. So here, this is slide. So first is the developmental encephalopathies. So this is the activity itself contributes to severe cognitive and behavioral impairment above and beyond expected from the underlying pathology, and that this can worsen over time. So for many encephalopathies, there is developmental component independent of the encephalopathy. There is developmental delay may precede with seizure onset. So there are comorbidities such as the patient has cerebral palsy, the patient has autism spectrum disorder, or the intellectual disability. So the patient has already a underlying comorbidities. That's why the patient has a epilepsy. Also, patients who have genetic disorders such as this KCN due to encephalopathies. So, developmental ENSEF may begin in the utero or the post-birth, difficult deliveries during normal spontaneous delivery, or the mother has complications, and so on. And it can occur at any age. So epilepsy syndromes refers to a cluster of features incorporating seizure types, EEG, and imaging features that tend to occur together. So often has age-dependent features such as onset and remission where it is applicable. Seizure triggers, the diurnal variations, and sometimes the prognosis. So it will depend on the type of seizure when the seizure occurs. So criteria used for syndromes is the age of onset, the precipitating factors, the cause, the seizure type, the anatomic location, the ictal, and the ictal abnormalities, and the natural history. So here, example, the petit mal seizure, the age of onset is usually 4 to 10 years old. More common in females, the etiology, genetic etiology, the seizure type is typical of sons, and so sample, this one, the petit mal, usually 4 to 10 years old. If the patient outgrew this phase, and sample the patient is 12 years old na, and there's no recurrence of seizure, you can consider the patient is seizure-free or epilepsy-free. So first line of treatment, etoxamide, valproate, lamotrigine. Then the second line is the clonazepam, clobazepam, and atezolamide. Phenytoin, phenobarbital, not effective. So avoid carbamazepine, CBZ, basta, nakalimutan ko. I forgot. What is important here is the first line and the second. Next is the juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. So here, the age of onset, usually kinda old na, no? 8 to 26 years old. Unlike for the first one is 4 to 10, here 8 to 26 years old. Equal distribution to male and female. Then the genetic abnormality is the GAB-BRA1, and the other one. Seizure type, myoclonic jerks without noticeable change in awareness. So there is jerking, but there's no change in awareness. This is just the same. For the treatment, lifestyle changes regulate sleep-wake cycle, avoid carbamazepine. It can aggravate the juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. Then LTG is lamotrigine. This is controversial. So the first line is the valproic acid, the VPA, then also the phenobarbital, the PB. The second line is the levetiracetam, then the other option. TPM is topiramate. Next, for the focal epilepsies, genetic, we have Rolandic epilepsy. This is self-limited epilepsy with centrotemporal spikes. Most common, this is the most common childhood focal epilepsy. Okay. And then age of onset 1 to 14 years old with male predominance, genetically determined. The CH, then the seizure type is infrequent, single focal awareness. You can just run through this hand. Then for the criteria, ictal and ictal findings, there is interictal centrotemporal spikes. You can see this on the patient's EEG. The treatment for this, it may not need anti-epileptic medication if seizures are infrequent or if seizures occur near natural age of remission. If almost mag-graduate na siya sa this kind of epilepsy. So first line, carbamazepine and valproic acid. Next, this is uncommon seizures na epilepsy. So late childhood or early adolescence, sex predilection none, etiology loss of neurons in the CA1 segment, and of the pyramidal cell layer of the hippocampus. Seizure types is focal in origin. It has auras, and such as rising epigastric sensation, anxiety, fear, familiarity, or unfamiliarity. The ictal and enterical findings, the natural history, and so on. For the treatment, the sodium channel blockers or the carbamazepine and the levetiracetam. CBZ is carbamazepine. Levetiracetam is the lev. Also, you can do surgical management. The next one, focal and generalized epilepsy, we have the West syndrome. West syndrome is for the babies. It can occur 3 to 9 months. So, just remember, West, baby na siya. Early beginning genetic, metabolic, or congenital malformations. Later onset, it can occur focal cortical dysplasia, seizure type, epileptic spasms. Most are refractory to treatment, and you can give lang prednisone, prednisolone, vigabatrin, ACTH. You can also give, since it is refractory, additional lang tong prednisolone. So, usually valproate, levetiracetam, zonisamide, ketogenic diet. Prognosis for the West syndrome is usually poor, and it also depends on the etiology. So a known etiology, poor outcome, and recurrent seizures. Predictors of worse outcome, young age at onset, and other seizure diagnosis. So next is the genetic epilepsy with febrile seizure plus. So this is a generalized epilepsy with febrile seizure plus. This is a familial association of febrile seizure and epileptic seizures. So familial epilepsy syndrome requires at least 2 family members with seizures, with the core features is predisposition of 4 febrile seizures. So febrile seizures is most common predisposition. So usually persists beyond 5 to 6 years old. A febrile seizure can occur same age as febrile seizure, so 3 months to 6 to 5 years old, early childhood, and may continue beyond occurrence of febrile seizure. There may be silent period followed by febrile seizures. So epilepsy with myoclonic atonic seizures, 1/3 of patients have family history for febrile seizures. Next is the Dravet syndrome. This is the most common phenotype in the spectrum, rare in 5% in the GEFS families, or the genetic epilepsy with febrile seizure plus. So it is severe myoclonic epilepsy of infancy, rare 1 to 40,000 in males, more common in males. So 2,000 to 8,000 reported cases. Usually discovery of the SCN1A mutation in the Dravet. So the triggers: fever, fatigue, photosensitivity, pattern of sensitivity, exercise, and excitement. So the neurologic signs include hypotonia, which is the most common sign by 1 year, ataxia, interictal myoclonus, most common predominant over extremities, autonomic symptoms, cold extremities, alteration in sweating, slow gastric emptying, facial and chest flushing. There is also psychomotor delay or regression. There is unsteady gait, language, progress slowly, does not achieve simple sentences. So the patient usually cannot talk in sentences. The fine motor skills is poor. There is poor attention. So suspect Dravet syndrome after 1 isolated febrile seizure or a febrile seizure in less than 1 year old. If 2 additional seizures lateralize or occur after short interval without temperature spike. If one seizure status epilepticus or resistant to rectal diazepam, if you have given diazepam and still seizure will occur, then you can suspect na. With all the criteria, you can suspect that the Dravet syndrome. Then spontaneous photosensitivity, workups for symptomatic seizures are negative. Next, genetics SCN1 screening. You can screen this if the patient has febrile status epilepticus starting between 6 to 12 months, intractable generalized tonic-clonic seizures that start during infancy into the 2nd year of life. Then epileptic encephalopathy is plain of the vaccine. Then also, you can start an origin of refractory epilepsy with mental retardation in adult can be traced to infancy with early features suggestive of the Dravet syndrome. You can I don't think this is available here in Cebu, the genetic screening of the SCN1A. So evaluation of after the first seizure, history is the most important. Seizure type, the onset, the level. You should assess the level of awareness. Seizure triggers such as the fever, gastrointestinal problems, as what I've said, home videos are very helpful. So we advise our parents to, if because sometimes if they will bring the patient in the ER, the patient is not having seizures na. So we advise them to video the baby so that we can assess it. Then measure the head circumference, physical findings, the facial features, the skin lesions, because sometimes some babies are syndromic that are undiagnosed. So diha na ma-apply imong genetic problems or how to assess genetically. Neuro exam, the focal deficit, muscle tone, sensory testing, limb asymmetry. Diagnostic is case-to-case basis. So not all epilepsy you will get CBC, any electrolytes. So CBC, blood chem, urine exam, and so on. So EEG should be performed in all cases with first unprovoked. Remember, unprovoked. If it is provoked or febrile, EEG is not recommended. But if it is unprovoked, non-febrile seizure, you should get EEG to help predict the risk of seizure recurrence. So normal EEG does not exclude epilepsy. Usually the EEG is sometimes the EEG is normal, but the patient is having seizure. We can treat the patient with anti-seizure medications. So neuroimaging procedure indications if the seizure is focal, post-ictal focal deficits. If after seizure the patient cannot move his or her left arm, then neuroimaging is indicated. Patient status is not returning to baseline. If the patient's sample, the patient is still GCS 10 or 11, then he can proceed with neuroimaging. High risk medical history, and also you can get CT scan. CT scan if the patient is a history of trauma. If you can get, but MRI with co-contrast or with contrast if is preferred if it is not an emergency case. So here the management of epilepsy. Our main goal is to improve quality of life. Since epilepsy is not forever, but we need to control it lang. So this is choosing the right anti-seizure medication. We should consider the efficacy, the convenience, and safety of the patients since adverse drug effects is common in anti-seizure medications. Effects on cognition, behavior, psychiatric effects, and it is teratogenic, and so on. So general principles of initiation of anti-seizure medication. Our aim is monotherapy or only one anti-seizure medication. Anti-seizure medication, ASM, choice is dependent on the seizure type or what kind of seizure or epilepsy syndrome. Anti-seizure treatment for single unprovoked seizure. For the focal seizure, signs of focal lesion on the neurologic exam, abnormal EEG, focal slowing, or the epileptiform activity predicts high recurrence. So general guidelines of initiation of medications: start single drug appropriate for seizure types, as what I've said, and give once or twice a day. Educate the patient or the mother about the drug, its side effects and interactions. And it helps to control but not cure. So it will just control the seizure type. So start slow and low. Start at low dose and gradually increase until seizures are controlled. Or toxic effects appear because anti-seizure medication is toxic to the liver, kidneys. So before starting it, we can get SGPT or creatinine. If the first drug fails, try the second drug. So that's why we have a first line and a second line drug. For the drug resistant, failure to achieve seizure control after 2 fair trials of the appropriate anti-seizure medication. So drug resistant siya if 2 of the anti-seizure medication is given na. Consider other treatments, such as the prednisone, IVIG, ACTH, or the ketogenic diet. So, as what I have read, the enemy good is the sugar, no? Kasi it will feed the glutamate. Then this is the combination or the polytherapy. Principles of polytherapy. Polypharmacy in epilepsy involves combining anti-epileptic drugs that have different mechanism of action. So you don't give 2 drugs if same ang action of the medicine, do not have similar side effects, and can be combined in minimum doses to produce the maximum effect. So here, this is just where the medications will act. So, gradual discontinuance of the anti-seizure medication criteria if the patient is seizure-free for 2 to 5 years on anti-epileptic medication, and single type of focal seizure or single type of generalized seizure. There is normal neuro exam or normal IQ, normal imaging, and EEG is normalized with treatment. So you can slowly discontinue the anti-seizure medication. And also there is a sudden death in epilepsy. So this is SODEP. This is most common epilepsy-related cause of mortality. 17% of deaths in patients with epilepsy propose mechanisms due to cardiogenic, seizure-induced cardiac arrhythmia, cardiac aneurysm also, cardiocerebral channelopathies, mutations in the SCN1A and so on, mixed respi and cardiogenic models. So more on cardio problem siya due ang sudden death in epilepsy. So sudden death epilepsy risk factors include polytherapy with more than 3 anti-seizure medications. So more common in male gender if the patient is diagnosed with epilepsy, young age at epilepsy onset with developmental delay, poor anti-epileptic medication compliance, nocturnal seizures, poorly controlled tonic-clonic seizures, high frequency of seizures, and having epilepsy of more than 30-year-old in adults. So, I will discuss a little na lang about bacterial CNS infection, but first, we'll have a break lang sa 15 minutes. So, 12 to 12:30 na lang so that short training CNS. Okay, thank you.